Hello, hello. Um, I don't even know if I can hear it.
It's registering.
I think your noise suppression has to be turned off too.
Let me try again.
Yeah, I don't think it's picking it up for me.
It's picking it up on mine.
Oh, is it?
Only one way to find
Okay,
out.
okay. What about? Let me try. Let me try. Wait.
I can pick up a little bit of it. This is so vile. Can you imagine just like, oh wow, another tsunami podcast, and you open it up and it's just like two people aggressively drinking their coffee.
What a way to wake up in the morning. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Um, leave a comment below this to let us know which coffee sip you like to hear more of. Okay. Well. It's my turn to introduce the podcast. So welcome back. We are back due to popular demand, and funnily enough, we're actually back a week earlier than we said we were going to be back. So we are going to be doing this regularly every single week, as long as we have the energy for. So expect more podcasts to come out. Um, but on that note, welcome. How's it going? I have Jess here,
Hello.
and we're gonna start. Um, we're gonna be talking about kind of stuff that we've talked about in the last one, but with I think better topics this time because I'm gonna let Jess kind of uh, start off with the first topic, um, but it's about food.
Yes,
And
more structure this time because last time it was just me rambling on and on and on and asking Mark whatever questions I had in my head. So this time we fixed the audio. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
yeah,
Yes, we have questions from the community that we're going to be answering as well.
yeah,
But to start off, yes, we are talking about food, just because yesterday at like 2 in the morning I ordered pizza because I was craving pizza.
and we made it known to the whole community that we're ordering pizza.
We did. You know what? Now that I think about it, we've never gotten pizza after a volleyball game.
Whoa,
Hmm.
yeah,
We usually either go for McDonald's. If it's a late night volleyball game, we usually get McDonald's.
yeah.
If it's a night volleyball game, we go to Korean.
Mm.
But it's usually just those two options. We never do anything outside of that.
Yeah, but it's like foolproof.
It
It's like
is, yeah.
either we haven't gone to pho. I feel like is a
It's a
pre volleyball.
pre-volleyball ritual.
Yeah,
Yes. Hmm.
but Korean is post volleyball if you have time and
Hmm.
if it's open.
Hmm.
Um, but then McDonald's
And you're in
if
a rush and you want to go
you
home.
have no time.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
I had a friend say that they were getting shawarma after volleyball.
Oh, shawarma.
Yeah, shawarma was also
That
very
would be
underrated.
good.
Lots of carbs.
Hmm.
Yeah. I will stress a lot of people are not as invested or committed to fueling themselves before a volleyball game. It's something that's very overlooked usually.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before, I
Usually,
always see the after.
people will usually show up to either volleyball games or tournaments on an empty stomach, and I think it's important to make sure you get like a full, a nice healthy breakfast or a nice healthy meal before a tournament too, because it's
Mhm.
something that's often overlooked.
Yeah, you know what? Like, even I've noticed in our tournaments, there's there's always a conversation about how hungry people are.
Yeah, people always come
Either
here hungry. It's like,
and it's not even like at the end. It's like in the middle. It's like, oh, I just want to leave. I want to go
yeah,
and get some food.
yeah.
I mean, we were like that
Oh
in the last
my
tournament we
gosh!
did.
You know what? We came to we got called last minute to play in a Matt Gen tournament.
So he's gonna comment again that he gotta mention,
He's gonna
but
be like, "Hey, yo, another shout out."
another shout out.
I remember when we were in the playoffs for the silver bracket. I was starving.
I think we all were.
We were all hungry. We were all like, "Yo, like we want to get our touches in, but at the same time, like we all wanted to go eat."
Yeah.
And that's when I realized I probably should have eaten something before the tournament. It also didn't help that I was still kind of sick and I threw up my coffee before we started playing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you were still sick, so
Yes.
like, well,
Mhm.
you were on your way to recovery.
Mhm.
You're like, I want to say 10%
Mhm.
like there.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, I would say like you're not like all the way there,
Oh
but
no.
you're getting there. She's
Oh
getting
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are worried about it,
Mhm.
about you.
Yeah, I am getting a lot better. My cough is still here. If you haven't noticed already, I have been coughing already,
Mhm.
even though we're only like 5 minutes into the podcast.
Yeah.
The cough is still here, but I am feeling a lot better. I am eating a lot more, which is good. So for those of you who are concerned about me, I do appreciate it. But yeah, slowly but surely,
Hmm.
I am improving. Oh God.
So for your like appetite, you don't you said you're not in the mood for. You've mentioned to me that you're not in the mood for like protein.
Yeah, it really sucks, but I haven't really been eating too much protein,
Hmm.
which is really sad because I did lose a bit of muscle mass while I was ill. And now as I'm like trying to regain my muscle and my energy and my strength, it's like it's very obvious like I know what I need to eat to get that back, but I don't have the appetite for it. So
I think you'll get it back
I think I'll get it back. Yeah,
eventually. It's just
yeah.
taking some time.
But now it's like, man, like all the times that I did not eat what I should have been eating before a tournament or while I
Mm.
was healthy. Now that I look back on it, it's like, man, oh, what I would do to have like the appetite for like beef
Yeah. So
or
okay, so then what should you be eating before a tournament?
So I don't remember where I heard this from, but um, I think it was in like a class that I was like a nutrition class or something like that. But it's very important that breakfast is actually your biggest meal of the day.
Yes.
I don't know if that's actually true. I think it is.
I think it's true. I think there's like a lot of things that you can do before
Mhm.
like a big energy day,
Mhm.
cuz and I think it depends on the activity too.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Cuz when I was doing track and field when I was in high school, I honestly I wish I continued on with the habits that I had when I was in high school in terms of my nutrition, but uh I think nowadays this is something that I should be doing before tournaments is eating a lot of, or I guess the day before is like eating a lot of carbs.
Mhm.
I heard carb loading is really
Mhm.
good because then the next day you have all that like extra
Oh yeah.
energy to burn off.
Mhm.
Um, but the whole breakfast thing, I think the breakfast thing is huge.
Mhm. It's also important you don't eat anything too oily and you don't overeat because then you'll vomit out all your food.
Hell yeah! No, just kidding.
So very important, very overlooked aspect of getting tournament ready is eating, a meal before the tournament or having like a nice meal the night before, getting your full 8 hours of sleep and your rest.
Yeah.
You cannot believe how important it is to get your full 8 hours of rest before a tournament.
Would you say this is something that we do regularly
No.
before tournaments? Do
No.
as we say, not as we do.
Exactly. And then even during the tournament, like stay hydrated, make sure you're drinking your
Hmm.
electrolytes, make sure you're drinking water in
Electrolytes.
between your sets.
Yeah.
I have no choice because I'm constantly thirsty, just because of the nature of what happened to me in my illness. But
Yeah.
um, it was something I didn't really do before is
Yeah.
hydrate. But hydrating is very important.
Yeah, especially in the summer, those summer tournaments where like I don't know, you're in a old school
And it's hot, it's
or yeah, it's
humid.
hot, sweaty,
Ugh.
humid. Like I think in one of our tournaments we had like maybe two or three people cramp up.
Hmm.
I think it was in the same game. It was wild. Like
Hmm. They were
um,
dropping like flies. I was concerned.
it's crazy. But I think I do my best to make a point of like fuel yourself during the tournament, before the tournament, stay hydrated,
Hmm.
drink your electrolytes, and then at whatever you do after the tournament, like go
Most teams will go out
shovel some food
and
into
like,
your mouth.
yeah,
Yeah.
most teams will go in and get like all you can eat or something like that. That's what we used to do with our teams as well back in the day.
Well, you can eat sushi. Yeah.
Yeah. There are people too as well that are like, I'm coming to a tournament and then they're like, and I have a run tonight and then I have another run tomorrow and then I'm playing in another tournament the day after. I'm like, yo,
How do people do that?
how?
like I think I was able to do that maybe like 10 years ago.
Yeah, like at what point is it too much volleyball?
At what point?
Yeah.
I think it depends on your like, I hate to say it, but it depends on your age and your energy levels, like as an individual.
Mhm.
Because like, I don't know, I'll go to the Saturday runs that we have, the Saturday drop-ins, and I'll see like some of the regulars um come to our runs, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I just played like 7 hours of volleyball, and I'm on my eighth now," and I'm like,
What?
"How? Where are you getting all this energy? Like, what did you eat to do this? Because I would love to know."
Yeah. How much volleyball were you playing like in your peak, would you say?
Oh goodness, in my peak. You know what's funny? Actually, I think in my peak I was playing like, I don't even think it was that much compared to like what I hear. I used to play volleyball like for 2 or 3 hours, uh, 4 times a day at least. Cause
You mean
but
4 times a
when I
week?
was,
You said 4 times a day.
sorry, 4 times a week. Sorry, yeah, 2 hours a day, 4 times a week.
Mhm.
How many hours is that
That's
per
8
week?
hours.
Yes, math. Yeah. What about you?
Um so it's a very long story. I'm not going to dive too much into it, but um
You're not gonna dig too deep. I'm so sorry.
um so I played volleyball for a bit in high school, and then when I went to university, I was so incredibly busy that I had no time for sports or exercise. And when I moved back home with my mom and dad, is when I started to pick up volleyball again. And I remember the first time my dad asked me to go play volleyball with him and his colleagues. I was like, "Yeah, how hard could it be?" I bumped a ball and my arm started to swell up.
Oh,
And that's when I realized, "Oh my gosh, I am out of shape."
oh my goodness.
So I'm not even joking. After that run, it was like a 2 hour run. I got
Mhm.
home, my hands, like my arms they were swollen. Like it hurt to like touch my skin.
I feel like that's something that like either newcomers or like when
Mhm.
you're first starting out the sport, it's something you have to get
Mhm.
used to.
You have to get used to it, definitely. Like my skin was definitely not used to being like irritated like that by a ball. So, um, anyways, after that, I was like, okay, I want to play more volleyball because that was fun. I think in my peak, I was playing maybe 5 days a week for like 2 to 3 hour runs,
So pretty much like almost every day.
almost every day. I know people that are playing like 6, 7 days a week. Like some people play 7 days a
That
week, like no break.
or I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get, like, do you not need a break in between? At least like at least one.
I think a day off is important. I think it's.
Cuz like even just like physically, if you're putting your body through that much strain,
Mhm.
like when do you give your body a chance to
Yeah.
regain that
Rest is
muscle?
rest is important. I think it's important to take at least
Yeah.
one day off.
Yeah.
So I think a good balance is maybe 3 or 4 days a week. I think if you're playing five, the 2 days off, you should be like only relaxing and trying to like replenish like your energy and
Yeah.
and heal if you're sore.
I remember when I was um wait, let me backtrack a second. I My best sport, or the sport that I have done more of than volleyball, is actually badminton. So back then, I used to play badminton pretty much like 6 days a week,
That's terrible. That sounds so tiring.
like pretty much every single day, and not for just like 2 hours, for like 4 hours.
That's terrible. I would die.
And yeah, so my coach, he asked me this question. He's like, "How much do you like? How often do you play?" Or like, or I think it was like we were talking about like being at the gym like pretty much every single day. And then he was like, do you come here like every day?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm coming to train." And he goes, "Every day?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You shouldn't do that." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Isn't that how you get better?" Um, and then he basically told me like you need a day for your like muscles to replenish, and then once your muscles have like regained the mass, then you can begin to like break it down again. Because if you keep breaking it down and breaking it down and breaking it down, like
It's like at what point do you let it rest and heal? You know.
yeah, and I think that he also related it to like timing, because if you're able to jump even a little bit higher, then you have to like recalibrate everything and all your muscles. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's the same thing with volleyball.
Mm.
Like I don't know, you go play volleyball like 3 times or maybe like a whole week straight,
Mm-hmm.
and then you take a day break and then you come back and like you've regained your muscle and you're probably jumping higher. So I feel like it makes more sense to like do it in smaller stints.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
don't know. I studied psychology in school, not kinesiology. So
Uh,
what do I know?
I'm sure there's someone in the community that is in kinesiology that can probably give us a little bit more insight on this topic. So
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
there's
mean,
someone
like,
in the community.
if there is somebody and you're listening to this, comment. Please tell us. Fact check us.
So last week we did chat about our favorite positions to play. Okay. What is your least favorite position to play on the court?
I think you know this. I think a lot of people know this, and I've like I make it known. It's not that I don't like if I need to play that position, I'm gonna play the position. Like this is a team sport, but at the same time, I'm not gonna be too happy about it. I'll be
I'm
honest.
pretty sure it's either middle or setter. It's one or the other.
I ooh setter or middle? Which one do I hate more? I think I hate. No, you know what? I will say, I don't like playing middle
Hmm.
more than setter.
Do you think middle is harder to play than setter? Is that why you don't like it?
I think it's harder for me because I just don't have height. Like I think volleyball is like height is so important. So when you're the middle, like your your name is a middle blocker. So that means that you're responsible for most of the defense at the net. So like if the middle blocker, then I have to basically just push myself to the sides to get those blocks in, or I'm basically like jumping around. Whereas if you're taller, you probably can reach above the net a lot quicker. So I just feel, oh
Yo,
man,
it's so
like
crazy because during the tournament, I I don't know if you remember this, but the team that we were playing against, their middle was actually a really good player. He was really really good. I dumped the ball only for this guy to take that ball and throw it
oh my
right back
gosh,
into our court. I
that was questionable.
He hit
Not
me.
not your dump,
Oh,
the his
yo, he hit me with an Uno reverse card. He was like, "What is this? Take it back."
yeah yeah I
I
remember
couldn't
that.
believe it. I was like, this guy was so tall that like he just caught the ball and he was like, "No, no, no, I don't want this. Take it back."
Yeah, if he was like 8 inches shorter, I'm sure he would not be able to do that. I don't think I would be able to do that. Yeah, that's why I'm like setter isn't actually that bad. I do like being in control of the play, but um at the same time it's not that bad.
Mm.
What about you? Your worst position or the position that you hate the most?
This is gonna baffle a lot of people. You might even be surprised. I actually don't enjoy playing setter.
Why?
It's a lot of
Why?
pressure. It's a lot of pressure. I
Huh.
think I think the only reason why I play it so often is in my opinion, I think it's a position that no one really likes to play. Which is
Mhm.
crazy because I feel like you get the most practice out of being a setter because you get the most touches on the court. But um,
You could even make it a point that like you do get the most touches on the
yeah.
court.
What is that quote? With great power comes great responsibility. Is that the quote?
Mm, so you're saying you don't want the responsibility?
Sometimes I feel like, you know, when we watched Haikyuu, there's that thing where it's like, oh, I'm gonna spoil the show if I say it. I'm actually not gonna say anything.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Go for it! Go
You
for it!
know when that setter for Nakoma, the one team was like put all the pressure on the setter,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you could like they were like making it look like it was like a lot. I like felt that like deep in my gut. I was like, oh my god, I get it.
It is a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure
It
because
is a lot of pressure.
I feel like if I set my hitter a set that is either too low or is too fast or is not in the right position and they're unable to hit it, I feel like that's my fault.
Yeah, I think a lot of setters take on a lot of the responsibility when
Hmm.
like even though it's a team sport,
Yeah.
like
It's a lot of responsibility. And I remember my coach once told me that the setter on your team should be the best player on your team.
I think they should
Um, and
normally.
going into like a team and I'm like, okay, I'm the one setting, it's like living with the fact that I have to be the best player on the team. It freaks me out like crazy.
Yeah. I
So, sorry, go ahead.
no, finish.
So usually, like even with like tournaments recently, especially women's tournaments, usually I'm setting, and I've played like power, I've played middle, and I've set, and I'm telling you, playing power and middle feels so much easier and less stressful than setting.
They've never played right side.
I don't want to talk about right side.
Okay.
I cannot figure out how to hit a right side set for the life of me. I don't know why, because I can hit a middle, I can hit a meter. You'd think a right
Yeah.
side is just another meter. It's just going the other way. But for some reason, I can't figure it out.
I no, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. I have trouble with my footwork when I'm
Yeah.
hitting right side. I go goofy. I'll be
Yeah.
honest.
But I think setter or right side is probably the hardest position in my opinion. Like I really don't like. I would rather play right side than setter, arguably these days.
That's
In
fair.
a drop, and I don't mind. But if it's a tournament and they're like you
Yeah.
have to set, I would just crumble.
I think when you get into like higher level volleyball though, like I think that um the responsibility becomes a little bit more spread, and you, because you're so like um specified in your craft, like you are specifically on the court because you are the setter, you're not doing absolutely
Mm-hmm.
anything else.
Yeah.
So I think when you're doing like higher level volleyball, I think that that responsibility is dispersed a little bit more. But I think at the level that we play, um, because I think the setter does have to be like probably more like the most skilled in terms of
Mm-hmm.
technique
Yeah.
on the court. Like don't forget that this is a team sport, but at the same time, like the setter should have like good enough knowledge, um, like volleyball IQ to execute like plays
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I understand that it's like it is a lot of responsibility.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why I signed up to be a setter, bro. I like regret it so much now that I'm thinking about it. I wish I could hit a ball better because then I would never have to set ever again in my entire life. But I fear I don't have the power to hit a ball hard
It's never
enough
too late.
to be a power. So
I'd say it's never too late.
you know what? I spoke to Jimmy the other day, and shout out to Vortex Volleyball, their clinics, top
Wow,
notch.
two shout outs.
Shout out to yeah, I haven't been to their clinics, but I've heard only good things about Vortex and their clinics. I wish I could go to one because Jimmy is a very good coach.
He
He is a
is.
very good
He
coach, phenomenal coach.
For some background, we have pop up clinics every Saturday, and he has taken on coaching for us, because I'm not. Um, I would say that I've coached, but I'm not somebody who can coach like I would say higher intermediate to and plus. So we do have like some players who come by and are looking for that type of coaching, and I think Jimmy does a really good job of spreading that um, coaching to pretty much everybody. So we do appreciate his help. Um, but yeah, sorry, you were saying
Oh,
about
yeah.
your
So
hitting.
yeah, so I was talking to Jimmy, just about my gameplay because again, like I haven't had the time or the just the time honestly or the energy to be honest to go to his clinics and get some feedback from him. But I was messaging him and he told me that I'm more valuable as a setter than a hitter. One because of my height, because I'm not that tall. Um, and two, because my hits lack a lot of power. Um, so between that, he also said like the footwork for setting is completely different than the footwork for hitting. It's the complete opposite. So I having to fix that is really hard, especially if I'm switching between playing power on co-ed or and then setting
Yeah.
on co-ed, or like setting on women's and then power on it's like it messes with my head like crazy. It's like, when you're playing badminton and then you play volleyball. I know the footwork's a little
Oh
different
my
as well.
gosh, it's the worst. Like I went to go play. This was like kind of recent. It was last year, but I went to go play badminton, and then right after playing badminton, it's literally like around the corner of the courts that I was playing for badminton. Like I walked maybe 10 steps, and I was at the volleyball run. And my approach was out of whack, totally out of whack. Because in badminton, you when you're going for like a big hit, you're stepping backwards. In volleyball, you're stepping forwards. Excuse me. And then on top of that, your footwork is switched. So when I went to go play volleyball right after badminton, my approach was backwards or flipped, I guess.
Probably flipped, yeah.
It was flipped, yeah. Instead of right, left, right. Is that right? Right, left, right, left.
Left, right, left.
Yeah.
It's right, left, right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was switched, and
Mhm.
I was mad because I worked on that for so long, and then just for it to go back again.
Is that a bad habit of yours then? Would you say the footwork?
I think it's a bad. I wouldn't say it's like a bad habit. It's just a habit as a cause of playing two different sports.
Do you have any other bad habits when
Supposedly.
it comes to volleyball then?
Oh man, I have a lot of bad habits. Yeah. Jess is holding up two fingers. What does that mean? I know what it means. I double a lot. Like I don't know what happened. I used to be like okay with setting, but like recently I don't even want to say recently. It was for like the past year. I want to say like I've been doubling balls like crazy.
Yeah.
What else?
They're more. I do see that in tournaments that they're a little bit more lenient with doubles now. Um,
NCAA rules.
yeah, that is true. NCAA rule says doubles are allowed. So God forbid I was working on that for so long for the ball not to spin, only for them to come out with that rule, and I'm like, why do I even bother?
But I'm pretty sure like FIVB rules, doubles are still a thing.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the tournament that you go to, because some tournaments will follow NCAA and some will follow the FIBB. Um,
Well, the tournaments that are in Ontario follow Volleyball Canada.
Yep.
So
Yep.
the double rule is still in effect.
yeah, I do see that a lot of self refs just kind of let it slide now, which is it's like a double edged sword. It's nice, but it's also, it's like I practice so hard to try and make the ball stay still when I set it, but then I watch the other team's setter spin this ball maybe like 1,000 rotations before it hits the hitter, and I'm like, huh?
So okay, so then what do you think about the whole like double rule? Do you
I think it
should
promotes bad
be a
habits.
thing? Do you wait? Well, okay. Do you think doubling a ball is so bad? Like,
Sorry,
what
not.
what's so bad about the ball spinning
Sorry.
like crazy?
I think it's not a bad habit necessarily. I think it promotes like bad practice. Like I
Like
think
bad technique is what you're saying. Like
yeah, like I think, if you're a setter and you're able to finesse the ball in a way that you can stop it from spinning, I think that shows like real skill as a setter. I think if you're sloppy with the ball and you set it and it's spinning, yes, if it goes to where it needs to go, that's great. But if it's spinning, that means you lack a little bit of finesse.
yeah.
Every time
I
I,
think
sorry,
I think it also has to do with like your hitters.
Yeah.
Cause if the ball's spinning like crazy, I feel like it has to affect the way someone would hit.
oh yeah, I think it depends on a lot of things. But personally, when I set, like, I aim to try to not get the ball to spin. If it spins, I feel like I didn't contact it properly, and I could have finessed it a little better. Again, I'm
Yeah.
I'm extremely hard on myself, so in no way, shape, or form, if you're trying to be a setter, should you ever hold yourself to this kind of standard. This is just me being tough on myself, holding myself to, again, an impossibly high standard. Also because Jimmy holds me to an impossibly high standard sometimes.
You know what, guys? I feel like Jess is very self-critical when it comes to setting it. Like we'll be on our way home, and then she'll be like, I set like trash," and I'm like, "What? You were? I'm pretty sure you like set a shoot, didn't you? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm extremely self-critical. Don't be like me, guys. Honestly, you should celebrate your wins. If you did something cool during a run, like you should celebrate that.
yeah." Um, but yeah, okay. So you're saying you're saying the double rule should still stay in effect.
I think it should stay in effect. I think they should be a little bit more hard on, especially in higher level volleyball, like college level, like varsity level volleyball.
Yeah,
You'd
you'd
think
think,
that the
eh?
setter would be good enough that the ball doesn't spin when they set it.
I think they should. Yeah, yeah. I think they should. I think they should be.
Hmm.
I think they should keep the rule.
Yeah.
I hate it, but
I know it's because they want to like make the sport a little bit more like about the rallies and stuff like that. I think
yeah,
that's why they came out with that. But
probably. Yeah,
personally, like I think it's just promoting bad practice.
it's fair.
Yeah.
No, 100% fair. Now, I would love to play without the double rule, but yeah, that's fine. You don't have any like other bad habits you feel like you have?
I used to have this bad habit where I would try to kick every single ball.
What? Oh,
Like,
I think I honestly like when I see somebody kick the ball, it's I would say maybe 8 times out of 10, somebody almost got kicked in the face,
or like they almost twisted her their ankle.
or that too. I always get so nervous when people kick. Like I think there's times where you can kick, and when kicking is more advantageous than throwing your whole body towards the floor. But man, like if you're kicking the ball like when it's dropping right in front of the net, like somebody's gonna try to get that.
Yeah.
Someone's face is gonna end up with a foot in their mouth.
Yeah. Or you know what I've really started to do a lot is I try to pancake a lot of balls that don't really need a
Oh my
pancake.
I it's like when somebody gets like a new oh no. I'm gonna relate it to like back when I used to do like woodworking.
Oh, okay, okay.
I would get a new tool and I would try to use that tool with like everything. We like as soon as Jess found out that she can pancake, like she started pancaking everything. She's
It's
like an
because it looks
IHOP.
cool.
It does
It
look
looks
cool.
cool. It just doesn't look cool when it's like, oh, it's coming down. It's like I could just bump that up, and I'm like, or I could try to pancake it.
Can I tell them about the tournament where you literally were right in front of the ball? But you couldn't.
That was
Oh well,
so
I guess I
funny.
told them. Oops.
That was funny. It was very unnecessary.
Yeah, I well, I mean, like it might be hard to like gauge when to use it, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like if you just learn how to pancake, like when are you supposed to use it?
That is true. That is true.
So this is in your defense.
In my defense, we did end up winning the silver bracket of that tournament anyway, so you know I'm not mad about it.
That was fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun
Did it
tournament.
feel good winning a tournament?
Uh, it was nice.
I don't think we were as hyped as we should have been.
Yeah.
Because I
I
think we
mean,
were.
it was nice to like make make it to the top.
I
I
think we
guess.
were just all so hungry
Yeah.
that we were all like, "Oh
well,
gosh, we're done."
and on top of that, like that was that a Saturday?
Yes, we had somewhere we needed to be, so we were like, "We got to get this done."
Yeah. Like we were trying to get things done and get out of there and eat
Oh, and eat.
before.
Yeah.
So what did we have that day? We had McDonald's.
We had McDonald's. Yeah, we were eating McDonald's on the way to our drop in. So,
Yeah. So yeah, it was fun.
is that the only tournament that you've won?
No, I've when I used to play in Sudbury, I used to win. I've won two or two or three, I think.
Oh, yeah. Did it always
Yeah, I've
like,
won two or three.
was it always very like nonchalant, like, oh, we won. Yay.
No, you put up a fight. It was always putting up a fight. I think in total I've done like maybe 8
Oh, yeah.
in Sudbury.
Yeah.
Um, if anybody from Sudbury comes across this podcast, and remembers me, come to Toronto and play volleyball again, please. Y'all are insane. I don't know what it is about Sudbury, but they have really good volleyball players. Anyways, um, sorry, what was the question again?
Just like the feeling of winning.
Oh, feeling the winning. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for these tournaments, like we did have to put up like a pretty hard fight, and involved a lot of like strategy.
Mhm.
And we played uh in co-ed tournaments, so same rules, but um yeah, there we had to kind of like look at other teams and how they played, and we had to kind of see our strengths and our weaknesses, and work together as a team to try to like basically get on top. And I know I think I remember the tournaments that we did, like, because there's less teams, it's more like 16 tournaments or 18 tournaments. So there's only one bracket, and it's like knockout from the beginning, after round robin. So um, a lot more like thoughtful playing, I think, and you have to fight really hard. I think the first tournament that we won, I didn't even realize that we won, because somebody told me like we were in the like semifinals, and I was like, okay, one more after this. So then when we finished that game, everybody was cheering, but I was like, wait, guys, we have one more, and they're like, no, we won, and I'm like, yeah, won semifinals. They're like, no, we won the whole tournament. I'm like, wait, what? And then we were awarded medals, and it says champion, and I was like, huh.
That sounds like something I would not put that past you.
Yeah, I was I was very surprised. I think it didn't really hit me until like I got home, and like people in my res were like, "Where'd you go?" I was like, "Oh, I won a tournament." Yeah, the second time winning did definitely feel a lot better because I knew that we were playing in the finals.
Oh, jeez.
That one was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think the feeling of the ball dropping on their court
Oh.
is like everything is just in slow motion. The ball drops, and you're like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap.
Yo, you know what? I made a reel for a tournament that we hosted, and our videographer, he caught the moment that the other, like, that the team won. Like, he caught the
Yeah.
ball like dropping on the floor and the other team like trying to save it. And I put it in one of our reels, and I always watch that back, and I'm like, oh. Oh.
Can you see like the emotions go through like everybody's faces?
It's
like,
crazy. You know what? Like, I usually I go into tournaments now with like a very I kind of don't really care what happens attitude, because
Yeah.
I used to have too high of expectations going into tournaments, and it just completely like destroyed my mental. So now I don't really expect much going into it. It's just like this is a good experience to play in a competitive setting and get my touches in. But
Mhm.
I personally can't say I've won too many tournaments. I won a rec tournament playing middle.
Hey, that's a dub.
That was crazy. I don't know how, in what universe I managed to pull that win, or me
But
and the team managed to pull that win out of like who knows where.
a dub is a dub. You should be
I'm
proud of
pretty sure he
yourself.
won that tournament when me and the setter ran a quick, but I didn't know how to run a quick, so I was just kind of like mindlessly running at the
Oh my
ball.
gosh, I do remember that.
That
Yeah,
was very silly.
very
Um,
funny.
but that one was very like nonchalant. It was a rec tournament, so I was kind of like, whatever. Um, I played in a women's tournament with a team. You know who you are. When we went into playoffs, I'm not gonna lie, I thought we were gonna get knocked out like the first round of playoffs.
Wait, sorry, which tournament is this?
This is the TBC women's tournament.
Oh, T. Aren't we doing
Yeah,
one with
we
them?
are doing one with them. I fear I will
What
not be
was
playing
it?
in that one, but the one that we're doing with them is in March. It's on March 15th. So
Do we know how many
I
spots are left? So I'm so sorry.
I don't
I
know
am
actually.
shamelessly
I think
plugging
there's I
this.
think there's 6 spots left. There might be
I
less,
believe
honestly. I'd
so.
have to check.
Maybe 5.
But we played in one of their seasons because their tournaments are pretty well organized. And going into playoffs, I was like, "There's no way we're gonna win this," because
Mm.
it was like a team that we've never played before. It was just like a group of friends. Like, I subbed for them once in a women's league, and lo and behold, I think we won that playoff set. And then the team that we played after was also quite close. But I remember like when we won the first round of playoffs, that was like the first time I've ever won a round of playoffs. So I was like, I could not believe it. I was like, I was screaming. I didn't even know if I had that kind of scream in me, to be honest. But
It does feel good.
it does feel good. Getting knocked out after, I was like, I wasn't even mad about it because I was like, the team that we played against was a pretty. They've been playing together for a very long time, so they were a very well put together team. We did give them like a run for their money in the first set, but I fear they snowballed after that. So
Didn't you go to 3 sets with them?
no, we went to two.
But every single set was pretty close.
It was close. The first set
Like
we lost.
22, 25 or
We
something.
lost 25-27 in the first set. It was
Yeah.
very sad. I was serving on match point because it was
Why is that
24-21.
such a common thing that you do?
I'm always serving on match point, dog. I don't know. I think it's because I'm the setter. It usually works out that the setter is serving on match point, I think. I don't know how it works out. It's some
Messed up.
quadratic formula algebra stuff, but I
Basic
remember I
arithmetic.
was serving on match point, and in my head I'm like, God, if you're listening right now, please, I beg you, please, this ball needs to go over the damn net. And it went over the net. It was actually a hard ball for them to get because I served it over their stack.
Oh.
I served it over their stack, so they had a hard time getting it. But I think
Confusion.
I was in such shock that I got it over the net that I wasn't paying attention, and I think we lost the point.
Yeah.
And then I think after that they kind of snowballed from there. But it was a good match. Like I wasn't mad about it. The team wasn't mad. We were like, you know what, that was a good tournament.
It was very good volleyball.
Mhm.
It was honestly like I remember watching that and it was some good volleyball.
Yeah.
I always enjoy watching Jess play.
I also
But
served it and it clipped the net and it bonked the setter on the head and then it went out and I was like, ha ha, ah, ha
yeah,
ha.
it was pretty good volleyball.
Yeah.
Like I thoroughly enjoyed watching it, especially because it was a close game.
Mhm.
So and like both teams really had to like uh, play good volleyball. So
I thought it was an
uh,
L. I really thought we were gonna lose because again, that other team they had ex varsity. They were a well put together team. Like they ended up winning the whole tournament, but they deserved the win. Like they worked really hard for it.
yeah,
You know who you are,
yeah.
but
So I mean, we're doing a collab with TVC. Sorry, I'm shamelessly plugging this, but we're doing a collab with TVC. They're currently on their season 4, I believe, and so
season 4.
there's still some spots left. So if you have a team of 6 women, no, well 6, there you can have up to 8, but if you have a team, you should sign up. It's March 15. It's going to be at We Play Sports in Markham.
Yes,
So
I've heard very good things about that
yeah.
facility. Actually,
Yeah.
it's a nice facility.
There's a few tournaments that have already happened
Mhm.
there. I know there's some leagues too. So, um, the 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 venue should be nice. I know that TVC has a lot planned for that tournament as well.
Mhm.
So, if you want to sign up is on our
Instagram.
Instagram page.
Yeah.
Our Instagram page, TVC's Instagram page.
You know
We'll
what?
plug that out later on.
I will say, like, registration for our tournaments and our drop-ins have been filling a lot faster than I expected. Can we just talk about the registration for our drop-ins real quick? Because
Yeah, what
that
about it?
that was insane. Listen, okay. Usually I post the like our registration is done through WhatsApp at the moment. So usually what I'll do is I'll post like, hey, registration's open for this day at this place. And there's like X amount of spots, okay? I post it at like an ungodly hour of the night because I'm hoping that people will wake up in the morning and then they'll wake up to that message and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to sign up." Tell me why I posted registration at like 2 in the morning and 18 spots filled within 3 minutes.
I would say even faster than that. I think it was like a minute, like 45 seconds.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, I may have put myself in a pickle here, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'll book another court because people were putting themselves on wait lists already, and so I booked another court, and I was like, okay, we'll open it up to 36 spots. Not even like I think 15 minutes had passed before all 36 spots got filled, and then there was a wait list. And I was like, Mark, what have I done?
I think it's really cool that we have this many people wanting to come out to our runs on a daily sorry, on a weekly basis. uh like, and a lot of these people are returners, so like I mean I think this we owe them like a big thank you for kind of being regulars and being loyal
Yeah.
tsunami goers.
I was very excited. I thought like the we did a 72 player run last week, and I thought that was like a oh wow, very good milestone. Like we're gonna do this once in a while. We're doing it again this weekend.
Do you think it's becoming, as somebody who does a lot of the like admin work, like
Um, it's not a
well, a
headache.
lot in general, but
It's honestly not that much of a headache. I know a lot of our players are very considerate of the fact that we do have to manage a lot, considering we're doing a tournament every month and we're doing, drop-ins, clinics, all this stuff. We're trying to get a website published and everything. So a lot of them are considerate where if they have plus ones, they'll e-transfer for their plus ones.
yeah, that's
People
very considerate.
have been taking note and putting their names in like the e-transfer emails and stuff like that, so I know who it's for.
Yes, thank you
Um,
so much for that
it's like
because
when you have,
sometimes it's like
72 players plus an 18 person clinic, that's 90 people that you have to track in a day.
ay, ay, ay.
So I oh God bless some of you people putting details in your e-transfers. It's like some people will put like a lot of detail too, and like I know at first they might be like, oh, that might be too much. No, 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 no. You can
No, the
never
more the
send me
better.
too much. Exactly, you can never send me
Yeah,
too much
yeah.
information. But it's like I'm beyond like grateful because you don't see people hosting 72 player drop-ins week after week after
I feel
week.
like they're week after week. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely people or organizations out there who that are doing like big drop-ins like that, but at the same time, like the 72 people runs that we were doing, like it would be nice to keep doing it.
The day I book out the entire Pac-Man facility, Mark is probably gonna lose like 10 years off of his life.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, like that's like running a tournament.
We're close. We're close. So we booked 4 courts this weekend. Pac-Man has a total of 7 courts.
AO halfway there.
I fear the time is coming. Someone
It would be
also
cool.
also like some of the community, like Nikki and Fians, they seem to be under the impression that we're having a pizza party if I book out all of Pac-Man. That's
Yeah, no,
that's not happening. I'm not buying pizza for over 100 people.
it would. Hey, it would be cool.
Do you know how much pizza I'd have to purchase
A
if it was
hundred
2 slices
pieces,
a person?
2 slices a person, so 200 slices.
256 slices.
How many? How many pizzas is that?
Let me do the math really quickly.
Do the math. Or let
256
a calculator
slices
do the math for you.
divided by 8 slices in a medium pizza. That's 32 medium pizzas. If every medium pizza is around $12, $13 plus tax and tip, we'd be at $15. I spent almost $500 on pizza.
We're opening a budget line for pizza. Is that what you're saying?
I will say, maybe for our 1 year anniversary, we should do something special. I'm not saying that means buying pizza for 200 people or 100 people. I'm not doing that. But
I think like it's like we can put it on record now. Like we're probably gonna do something.
we'll do something. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm not buying pizza, okay? I don't know what it is with this obsession with pizza that these guys
You know
have.
what we could do? We
What?
can buy pizza specifically for them. We'll get something else for everybody. We'll get something. I feel because he's probably gonna hear this, but we're gonna get like a really nice food for everybody else, and then we're just gonna get bland pepperoni
Oh,
pizza
that's
for them. Be like,
mean.
look, this is what you wanted, so this is what you're gonna get.
I am excited. I'm not too sure what we're gonna be doing for our 1 year anniversary.
It's a while from now,
It is a
but at the
while
same
from now.
time,
Yeah,
like,
we are open
uh,
to suggestions. If someone says pizza party, I'm kicking you from the WhatsApp.
banned.
Speaking of the community, we do have a lot of questions. Not a lot, but some questions from the community.
Ooh, we're at the question portion of this podcast.
We're on the question portion of the
You know, I
podcast.
would have never thought that we would actually like have audience members
Yeah.
who want to be part. Anyways,
So
do you want me to start with one, or do you want to go through them?
I feel like this question's more for you than me. I can't really answer this question as well as you can, but Fiennes, the pizza simp,
Pizza soup.
he
Uh,
he wants to know kind of like what goes into a successful back row attack.
I think
Um,
there's more questions, but we can start with that
we'll
one.
start with that question, just because I think this question is probably better answered by Mark. Because when Mark plays reverses, usually he's hitting from the back row because he is a man. He is a man. So not usually he has to hit from the back row when you play
Yeah,
reverses.
unfortunately. More successful back row attacks. Well, I mean the first level of that is like you have to have a team that is capable of coordinating something like that because um if you just kind of go for a ball in the back row, you can end up bashing somebody in the head. Jess is looking at me. I've done this
He's
to her
busted
by
my lip
accident.
open trying to hit a back row attack.
Yes, and that is an example of what you shouldn't do. You should always communicate to your front row about what your attacks are looking like. I think as a setter, you have the responsibility of communicating with your team
It is my fault. It is partially
the
my
options.
fault. The ball's going way over my head. I should have known better.
Well, I should have seen you like in front of me. I think that's also
Well,
like
now I
it's
would.
mostly my
Yeah.
fault.
No, 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 no. I think I just didn't have the game sense to realize, oh, this is a back row attack. Now, in retrospect, if I see a ball go over my head like that, I'd probably be like, yeah, that's an A ball.
That's okay. Okay, so in terms of making a more like being a more successful, I'm presuming that it has to do with like your percentage of getting the point from hitting the back row. Um, if that's the case, I think back row hitting is a little bit different than hitting front row. The setter needs to set pretty high. It's pretty much like a high ball, but for the backcourt. Um, I would say almost higher than a set to power. But you need to basically like give the attacker time to do a run up because they are coming from so far back. And surprisingly, you actually don't have to set like over the attack line. You can probably set a little bit closer because you're jumping. You're having the attacker jump into the ball. That's the that's on the setter. I think on the hitter, um, I think doing your run up a little earlier, or at least starting your run up like a little earlier, might help with your timing. And also you're not necessarily doing. It's kind of like you're jumping straight. You're not really jumping. You're not adding like a curve into it like you typically would in like power or something. So uh, I think just figuring out your timing, communicating with your setter. I think those are really important aspects of hitting back rows. But always, I think communication is really the biggest thing.
Yeah, communication and safety is definitely important, especially like if you have a setter that hasn't perfected like back row sets yet. Communication is very important.
Yeah.
Um, I think it also requires a lot of practice and repetition with your setter. Whenever I set back row, I actually look at who I'm setting and I think about how far can they jump from the attack line.
That could help. Yeah. Yeah.
For example, there is a player that I know. He knows who he is. He asked for a pipe. I set him a regular meter and he just hit it like a pipe.
That's so funny.
It was like he was like, "I want a pipe."
Was this recently?
Huh?
Was this
This was, I
kind of
think,
recently?
this was in a drop in I think that we were doing.
Oh,
He was like, "Can I get a pipe?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I got you." And I was like, "I'm just gonna set him a regular meter, like a front row meter," and lo and behold, he bounced it.
it wouldn't that.
He didn't cross
Yeah.
line. It was a clean. He hit it like clean. It was just, I was like, "There's no way." And he did, and I was like, "Why, why?"
Wouldn't that kind of just be like a bick at that point? You know what a bick is?
Yeah, it was like a big, but I'm not joking. I set the meter at the net, and he hit it.
Yeah, that's like a bick.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it depends, because if it's a woman hitting back row, obviously you want to set it closer to the attack line because they can't jump as
So
far
this
forward.
is on the setter.
This is on the setter.
aspect.
Um, Yeah. I also think it depends on the if you're really diving into it. um,
Digging deep.
you also need to think about the blockers on the other side.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're usually in the back row. If you're doing a proper pipe, then your front row should be decoying the blockers
Mm-hmm.
out of the way,
Yep.
so you have an open net.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have that, then you're pretty much just running
Blocking a pipe is
an
very easy.
empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if the yeah yeah, I would say so.
Blocking a pipe is quite easy in my opinion
Yeah,
because it's just straightforward. So.
yeah. Well, uh, so if you're running a pipe, then yeah, I think it also like back row attacks. It really depends on where you're coming
Yep.
from.
Yeah.
Um, A ball, C ball, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, it's more like to in order to get more success, you need to work as a team.
You just need to work as a team. Practice it as much as you can. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's a lot of
yeah.
practice. Yeah.
Do you want to move on?
Yes. Next question.
What do you think about when you're hitting, or is it instinct? What do you think about when you're hitting?
Oh God, please go over.
Oh God, please go over.
So my answer is probably not going to be very useful because I don't have that much hang time, so I don't have that much time to think when I hit. Um, what I do think about is if I have two blockers on me and they're very tall people and they can jump very high and essentially I'd be hitting this ball against a brick wall. I think about ways that I can get around the block. So I think do you remember that drop in that we went to where I was matched up against this like 6'2" tall guy who was basically like just like a brick wall.
Yes.
And I got blocked maybe 2 times before I decided to tool him instead.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, it. I was like, yo, I'm being bullied. Like, let me hit on the open net. But I think when it's not as like when you're hitting, but before you hit, like look at who you're matched up against. And if you look over and you're like, there's no way I'm going to get this hit past this block, then you should think about getting around it, either by tipping it over the block or, swiping it off the block and tooling the blocker.
Yeah.
Things like that is really important. Like, especially because, again, like I can't jump that high and I don't have that much power and I don't have that much of a vertical or hang time. I have to think a lot about how I can get around a block. And how I do it mainly is by tooling a blocker. No one wants to get tooled by a girl. It's an unspoken thing, but I know that no one likes getting tooled by a woman.
Fair.
Um,
I think there was also something that he added to it. I remember how there was an annoying blocker marking. So what I did as I hit the ball, in a way, it spins very intensely against the hand to kind of curves it sideways down. I mean, that's pretty much like trying to tool,
that's
right?
trying to tool. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, do I feel like not to clarify, what is tooling?
Tooling is hitting the ball against the block and having the ball either bounce out or bounce in a way that's like unobtainable by the other team.
Yeah. I think my understanding is that it hits um the the block and then it goes out.
Yeah.
So out to the side.
Well, yeah, I just think it's either you hit it against the block or you bounce it or ricochet it off the block and then it ends up being a point for your team.
Yeah, so either way you get the
Yeah.
point. I think that makes sense. But yeah, I think sorry, were you did you have anything else
No,
on that
that's
side?
basically it. Like for me, the only options I really have if I'm playing against two very tall male blockers is I just have to tool them. I have no other choice. I either tip it over the block or I tool it or I swipe it against the block. I did that really cool thing. It was like borderline a lift, I'm not gonna lie. Do you remember at Battle Arena? I remember. That was No, it was at the hangar. It was at the
What'd you do?
hangar where I tipped it like this with my hand up like that
Oh,
against his
oh,
block and it fell like right beside him.
oh,
That was
yes,
cool.
yes.
That was cool. I had two
I
guys come up
remember.
to me after and they were like, "Yo, that was sick," and I was like,
Let's see. What I think about when I'm hitting, I think I've gotten to that point where I'm looking at the court, like where my holes are. So essentially, like um, where the blockers aren't. But it also does help to have that communication from your teammates.
Yeah.
Um,
Usually,
Kind
if
of communicating like who who's up. So I'll hear like one or two, and I know that I either have one or two blockers. Sometimes even some people that I've played with will communicate either if line, or either if I should hit line or if I
Yep.
should hit cross. That's another like really helpful communication uh, thing. I don't really know what to call it, but
Yeah. Usually, if Mark is playing right side, he'll get matched up against a girl, and if we're playing on co-ed, sometimes that just means that there's no block presence for him. So he'll actually tell me, like he'll come up behind me and he'll just say like, "Hey, I have no one." So I'll set him, and usually it's like an easy point for us.
yeah. Uh, Not to say that like all girls can't block, but just it's just the like unfortunate disadvantage. But so I think that um, going around the blocks is something that I'm thinking about. Timing is another thing that I think about because if I delay my hit just a little bit longer, or if I try to hit it a little bit earlier, like maybe I can. This is a term that I've learned recently. OT.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I think it's over the block.
Oh.
Over over t- something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't heard until
Yeah,
recently.
some people have been using that term a lot. I don't really know what it means.
Yeah, I can't personally like hit over the blocks. But I know that if I'm delaying my hit enough, that I can get the ball over, but get a block touch,
Mhm.
then I have a higher chance of tooling them
Mhm.
or wiping off their block.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think it's more so just like options,
Yeah.
like while I'm hitting.
Yeah.
Um, but I think when after the point, or if I lost the point, then it's like what can I do
Yeah.
in a similar situation where I can like gain the point?
Mhm.
Because if they're gonna block me the same, or if they're gonna be defending the
Yeah.
same, like what other options do I have?
Yes, higher level volleyball is not just about hitting a ball hard. There's much
Yeah,
more that goes into it.
it's working as a team
Mhm.
and um, making known your weaknesses and your strengths and
Yes.
how to use that to your
Sometimes
advantage.
it might even be better to recycle it off the block.
Oh yeah, that's something that I actually did not mention.
Mhm.
There was a tournament when I think the 2 tournaments ago.
Mhm.
Actually, no, I was playing Lib for that tournament.
Yeah.
I think it was the last tournament that I was doing. I went up for a hit and I noticed that I was getting blocked. Like
Yo, there was no way. I'm
getting
so
blocked.
sorry. I was like watching and I was like, oh, he's gonna get blocked.
Well, that's fine. Like I knew that I was gonna get
But
blocked.
that's when
So
you recycle.
instead,
Yeah.
yeah. So I instead of swinging as hard as I could, I just swung a little less hard.
So it bounces
And
off. You pop it up and then you go the other way, and then the blockers
yeah,
have to play catch up.
this is something that Team Japan does a lot, and
Yes,
they
they do a lot of
probably have
block
practiced.
recycling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
block
Block
follow.
follow.
This is why it's important to cover.
Mm.
Please
Yo,
cover
we
your
were
advantage.
sleeping. I was sleeping. I think there might have been maybe like 5 or 6 balls that I could have covered, and I just was not. I was like,
I think it's like it's fine.
I
It
was
was
sleeping.
early in the morning. No, it wasn't
It was
early in the
not early.
morning.
I had no excuse. I was
It
sleeping.
was early for us.
Yeah, block follow is very important. A lot of people just hit it as hard as they can, but if you're hitting against like two very solid like blockers, it's like it's better to just recycle the ball and then go the other way.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you do it fast enough that the blockers can't keep up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah, it's a little bit harder like in the moment, like in the point,
Oh yeah, yeah.
to like change it up. But
It's a good drill that
uh,
you should
it's
practice if you're ever in a
yeah,
clinic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just like changing your options essentially,
Mhm.
or giving yourself the reset or your team the
Mhm.
reset. On to the next question.
Yes. How to make things into what? Intuition instead of athleticism.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a very hot take. This might not be a hot take actually. I think that going into a sport fresh, like never having played the sport, we're only playing it a minimal amount of times, with being blessed with athleticism or being extremely athletic, will promote bad habits
Why is that?
because you will get away with doing these bad habits because you're athletic.
Sure, yeah. I can agree with
For
that.
example, um, for example, if you can jump extremely high, you have basically more options to swing at the ball compared to someone who cannot jump as high.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm going to use myself as an example because I don't have a very high vertical. But because I can't jump very high, I have no choice but to try and learn the proper technique to hit a ball because I don't have the hang time to be able to just swing at the ball as hard as I can and potentially like dislocate my shoulder. But I see people who are, blessed with a very high vertical or blessed to be able to, jump and explode 6 feet in the air. Um,
I feel like there's gonna be a few people here who
well,
feel
he's
like they're being.
the person who I was talking to about this actually. I think he agreed with me. He said like, it's basically like he's getting away with having bad technique because he's
That's
athletic
fair.
and he's working on fixing it.
I think when somebody has the self awareness for that, like that is very admirable
Mhm.
as an athlete or as somebody who is um coming into any sport as a newcomer.
Mhm. Um it's just promoting like bad habits because if I'm, floating in the air, then it's like why not just hit the ball as hard as I can instead of exercising like the proper technique and the proper, like the proper twist and all that kind of stuff. So I think being athletic is definitely helpful. It does have its benefits. You don't lose your breath as fast in a game and stuff, but it's like a blessing and a curse. I think it just you get away with bad habits so easily, and if you don't catch it fast enough, it could potentially lead to like an injury later on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think promoting healthy movement. When I was doing like NCCP training, that was one of the things that is like paramount, like safety. Safety is like the biggest thing, and then on top of that is just like healthy movement is promoting like healthy um, habits for sport and in specific movements because there are definitely ways where you can injure yourself. I think a good example is just like swinging at a ball.
Yeah, you could pop your
Um,
shoulder if you swing at it the wrong way.
yeah, you can really injure your shoulder. Like I've not even from volleyball, from badminton, I because it's you're always like facing the net. Uh, I got so used to like swinging at the net, um, parallel to the net, so like my shoulder didn't really move that much. So I had to get used to like including my like torso twist. Um, I think when it comes to like athleticism, if you, I think in the beginning, self awareness is so important. Um, but the more you practice, the better you will get, and the more it will just become a habit.
Yeah, I think the realistically the only way out of it is to just go to a very good clinic. Shout
Yeah.
out to Vortex Volleyball.
Yeah.
I think the only way to kind of fight that like fighting like getting away with bad habits is to go to clinics or get yourself a coach that will correct those bad habits.
Yeah.
Again, I think Jimmy's probably one of the best people that I know personally that can help someone get out of that because he's coaching pretty athletic people right now, and I'm sure
Yeah.
he's helping them correct their bad habits as well. But
Yeah.
I think the best way
Yeah.
to do it is just to find yourself a reliable clinic and continue to get your reps in and practice good technique and not rely on the fact that you're athletic. Because what happens if you have an injury and then you lose 2 feet off your vertical? Or what happens if you have an injury and you're no longer as mobile as you are? Then you
Restart.
have no choice but to exercise proper technique.
Yeah, you restart.
Hmm.
I think there are quite a bit of people or players in our community that have been that have like shoulder
A
problems.
lot of volleyball players have shoulder problems these days.
I'm telling you right now, if you have a shoulder problem, it's either you're not like stretching or
You're not swinging properly.
it's yeah, you're not swinging properly. I'm definitely somebody who is guilty of that sometimes. But I'm doing my best to like be more mindful about how I hit and how I swing because my shoulder has been messed up so many times.
Yeah.
Should we go on? Move on.
Yes.
What's next? Who is it from?
Actually, you know what? You read the question. I've been reading the questions for a bit. You can read the next couple of questions.
Oh, okay. If you really want me to.
Whoopsh.
Uh, whoa. Uh, this one comes from Kelly. How to read the enemy.
This is why I wanted him to read the question because I'm gonna
How
answer
to
this.
read the enemy. You want to read it? You want to answer it first? I mean, you've been answering it first lately. So.
Okay, fine.
Go
I'm not
for it.
gonna. I'm
Go.
gonna. No. I insist.
Do you want me to go first? I
Yes.
can go first.
Let's hear it.
How to read the enemy. It's a little hard when you're like in the game. I think the best time to break down your opponent's weakness is like after, but it does take a lot of volleyball IQ to break down what's happening on the court, especially when you are in the heat of the moment in every like play. Uh, to read the enemy, there's so many different situations that you could like read. The biggest thing to read is the one who touches the ball the most or has the most control on the court, and that's the setter. So, like, one of the things I think as a setter that is important if you want to become like a flawless setter in a way is to be as neutral as you can until literally the last moment where you have to hit the ball. Jess has actually gotten really good at just being neutral and tricking me even a lot of people like it'll look like she's ready to like set power and then she just dumps it. It's the worst, and like I hear about it on the way home. um, but yeah, if you watch the setter sometimes, if it's not something that they've like worked on, you can tell where they're gonna set. There's a couple people I remember playing against. I think last week, where I was calling them out. I think he knows who it is. Uh, he. It was literally the first game of the night,
Yeah.
and we were messing
You
around.
guys were messing
And he's
around, and
like,
you guys were both, I think, calling out like
I was calling him
outside,
out.
middle, right side, and lo and behold, that's where the ball went.
It was really funny. It was really funny. He tried to trick me a couple times. He did get me a couple times, but for the most part, I was calling out where he was
Yeah.
setting. So
Yeah.
that's like where you could start.
Yeah. He basically Mark just basically said what I was gonna say is, I don't really. It's a vague question. I will say. Also, shout out to Kelly because like, she's been coming to our clinics for a while.
He didn't want to give the shout out to Fiennes.
He's I'm joking. I'm his biggest hater. He knows I'm his biggest hater. No, I'm
We
joking.
appreciate you,
He's
Fiennes.
made progress cuz before, I remember the first time I saw him at our clinics, at our hitting clinics, I was like, "Yo, this guy has like a mad vertical." But
I remember that.
when he first started, he could not figure out the timing of his hit. He was having a lot
And
of trouble with the
now,
timing. Now, yo, this guy is like bouncing balls.
yeah,
Yeah, he's okay. Well, he's not bouncing balls, but he's hitting them fast and deep,
nice.
which is very impressive. I think he's come a long way. Same with Kelly. I think Kelly, watching her now, she's making like pretty solid contact with the ball when she's hitting it. And I remember when we first saw her at our clinics, like she was just kind of picking up the sport maybe, but she's made a lot of progress as well. She's actually a very good player because she's focusing on all of her skills, not just
Yeah,
one. So
yeah. I think there's a lot of not just these two, but I think there's also
a lot of our players that are coming to our clinics are
Yeah.
focusing on more than one skill.
Yeah, I think that was a goal for myself and I believe for Jess as well. Like when we started doing clinics, is like trying to develop the community as a whole, so that we can all play like better volleyball. So I think there are like a few, not even a few, like a bunch of people who are regulars for tsunami drop-ins that have just been getting better. Like it surprises me. I got blocked by
He who shall
I don't
not
want
be
to name
named.
on drop him, but
He knows who he is.
he knows who he is. They know who they are. Like when they block me, it's like I actually I don't feel bad. I actually feel more proud, like a proud dad.
That's funny.
Um, sorry.
Sorry,
Did
yeah,
you
back to the
want to
question.
finish on
No, yeah.
how to read the enemy?
So Mark is completely correct. When he says that the best way to read the other team is either after a game, if you're trying to look at the hitters and see how they
Or the
hit,
set, yeah.
or the setter. The setter is probably the best way to figure out how a team plays. Unfortunately, that's why I hate being a setter. It's too much pressure on me. Goddamn. So very, very, obvious setters, you can probably tell who they're gonna set before they even set the ball. If if usually I see this with a lot of women because I think it's just because we don't have like the arm strength to be able to push the ball, so we have to use our legs. I was like this when I first started setting. Yo, you could read me like a book back in the day. Oh my goodness. But if they're basically like squat on the ground with their arms like a spring, they're probably gonna set power, right?
Yeah.
If they're just standing there looking at the ball, they're either gonna dump it or they're gonna set middle. If their back is slightly arched or they're kind of like looking at the ball like it's gonna go behind them, they're probably gonna set right side. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like, what is that? Is disgusting, cat. This cat just grabbed my napkin with my boogers in it. Sorry, that was gross. But that's kind of like reading 101. You can see it in a lot of like I think high rec low intermediate games where there's a setter that just started setting, like you can probably tell who they're gonna set. Again, like Mark was saying like outside, and you would see the ball go outside, and he's like middle, and it would just go to the middle, and I'm like, so I think if you as a team or as a setter you don't want to be easily read, it's extremely important to stay as neutral as possible before you touch the ball. It's very hard if you're setting power. But also he's right when he says like that it does require a lot of volleyball IQ. Like let's say the pass is not to where it needs to go. Let's say the pass is a little bit like deeper into the court or it's in the middle of the court. Chances are it's probably just going to be a high ball to power.
Or even just like a free ball.
Or even just a free ball over, and you guys can rotate and back up and prepare for a free ball. Transition to a free ball. Yeah. I got yelled at for not moving fast enough on a free ball because I didn't know it was going to be a free ball. So there's a few different things, but I think it always comes with time and practice. Like the more you play, the more you'll be able to figure out what's going to happen with the ball. But that's why as a setter, that's why I kind of try to work on staying as neutral and unreadable as possible, and that's kind of why I'm able to take so many dookies on some teams.
Okay. We should keep going just for the sake of time. But that was really good, like really good insight, because I think that I didn't even go into like what to look for, so I think it's good to give.
Yeah, that's kind of just like the gist of it. Again, you get more experience as you play more often, especially once you play higher level volleyball. Then it's like you have to watch the setter, because if they're
you're looking at a lot more.
You're looking at a lot more things. If they're saying stuff like oh go or like it just comes with time.
You have to watch.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Next thing. Next question
from HK.vball.
Yeah.
This is Hassan.
Yeah.
Hello, Hassan.
What do you see Tsunami doing or being in 5 years from John?
From John. That was a typo. He means what do you see Tsunami being or becoming in 5 years from now? This is a good question for Mark.
You know what? I didn't even expect it to grow to this level. And I do thank Jess for that because she has put in so much work and has helped the organization grow this much. So she's shaking her hand at me like not agreeing, but I feel like I do owe her that. I think within like 5 years, we've only been operating for like a year ish, or not even a year, pretty much like at full capacity. So yeah, 6 months. Um, so I mean, like, there's 5 years is quite a bit to look forward to. Um, but I think by the end of the year, um, I'm hoping that we can do like tournaments pretty much like every month. Um, drop-ins like on the regular. I would love to have more drop-ins actually. To have more people on our team officially. Um, as like hosts and coaches, like that would be great, and having um, regular tournaments and stuff like that. There are things that I have like kind of on the back burner, but you're just gonna have to wait and see. That's my answer.
Yeah.
What do you think we could be doing?
I think we're doing everything that we possibly can be doing. Like, it is unfortunate that, like, well, not unfortunate actually. I'm very grateful that the demand from our community is there for more drop-ins and more events and such. Unfortunately, there's only two of us. So, you know, I unfortunately, like, I'm in school. Like, I am in school full time. I'm also working full time. Mark also has his own commitments as well on his end. So, this was originally something that he was doing just out of enjoyment, and now it's kind of almost become his full time job. And honestly, like, I can't say it enough, but like, I know he's very thankful, and I'm very thankful that the community has able to give him something that he really enjoys doing. Like, I can tell he really enjoys working on the website. He really enjoys interacting with the community and coming to these runs and chatting with everyone and getting to know the community more. So, like, I have really no expectations for 5 years from now because I don't even know what to expect anymore. um, the only thing that I really, really want to fix is this whole skill disparity issue going on with the volleyball community.
Ooh, maybe that's something that we should talk about next episode.
I think that's something that is going to either make or break the volleyball community, is the skill disparity issue, especially in intermediate. We'll chat about it more next time because it's a very, very broad subject, and I have my own opinions about it. I know Mark has his own opinions about it, but for me personally, that's something that I do want to fix in the future. I
Yeah.
want to make these drop-ins um, more equal almost, and but also more inclusive. Like, I want people to be comfortable coming to drop-ins and not have this feeling like they're being judged all the time by these higher level players or whatever. So that's something that I want to fix in 5 years personally. I would sleep a lot better at night knowing that there are, players are able to join whatever they want and not feel excluded or anything like that. So
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a really good point.
yeah, that's
Good segue into our next episode, I think.
yeah. We'll chat about the whole skill disparity issue in these drop-ins later on, especially and these tournaments. Like, there's a lot of teams that are sandbagging in tournaments and stuff like that. But that's a very big jar of pickles.
It's a big conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, last question. From Jimmy, what is your annual revenue?
I don't know. I'm a terrible
Uh,
accountant.
so it's actually, yeah, no, I'm not gonna give you that. Sorry. I will say, a lot of the money that we use, we always try to give back to the community. In some of the merch and stuff like that. So, or even like tournaments. Most of it, I think, just goes back
It
into
goes back into
developing
the company.
tournaments.
Yeah.
So, that is as much as you're gonna get.
I have nothing to say to it. He's completely right. Like, we don't take any of it home or anything like that. Most of the money is getting invested back into the organization to give you guys an overall better experience. Courts are expensive. Courts are extremely expensive.
It's only getting worse. Like, yeah, the inflation. My
Courts are getting
goodness.
expensive, right? Deposits are getting expensive.
Referees are
Referees are
expensive.
getting extra.
Vendors are expensive. Merch is
um,
expensive. Shall I go on?
yeah, that's all I'm gonna say to that. Like, Jimmy should also know because he also runs his own volleyball business. But all of
The
our
margins are slim.
the margins are
I
extremely
think
slim.
all the organizations know that
All
margins
of
are
the
slim.
organizations know that the margins
Straight,
are
yeah.
slim, but you know, um, myself and Mark are not in this for the money. Again, like I work full time, so personally, like I have no monetary gain from this organization. Um, for me, what I really want to see is this whole organization grow into something much bigger. Like I would love to have, 1,000, 2,000 people in the community
Yeah, that would
supporting
be
each other.
cool.
That would be cool, but
Yeah.
that takes time, and we understand that. So all we can really do is just put more work into it. So
Yeah. I think I care the most about really the biggest thing for me was just reaching out to more people and building a really healthy community. And I
hmm
think we're on track. I think people who've joined our community are very welcoming, very
oh yeah,
inclusive, very supportive,
oh
encouraging.
yeah, totally.
All of those words, inclusive, and
I will tell you my
um,
blood type though. I'm O positive.
why are you giving them your blood
It
type?
was a joke because in the chat I was
Oh,
like, "Oh, you want my blood type too? You want my
I don't even
sin?
know my blood type.
You should.
I
It's
should
very
though, eh?
important that you know your own blood type."
Yeah, I feel like I should.
Yeah, yeah.
Should get that checked. Oh, but
I'm O
that means I have
positive.
to get a needle.
Nope,
Oh,
it's not that bad.
oh. What do you mean it's not that bad? So I do have to get a needle. Oh
Nope,
my gosh.
no, it's not that bad.
Oh my goodness. No, I hate
I
needles.
should vlog that next time. I should vlog Mark going to go get
Oh,
his blood tested.
please. Okay. I think this is a good time to end it,
Yeah,
honestly.
so we'll end it here. So I know I talked about this last time. I'm gonna talk about it again. We have a women's tournament coming up. Actually, not this weekend, but next weekend. It's coming up with GTA. There's one spot left.
If you have a team and you want to play in comp, please put in a team. We need one more.
And then after, again, we did talk about this, the TVC women's tournament on March 15th.
Uh,
That one, it says we have 5 spots left. I actually don't think that's the case. I think there's only 3 spots left now.
it's less than that. Thank you.
Yeah, and then in April we will be hosting our own tournament. I don't know if we're doing a co-ed tournament or like a men's and a women's separate. We haven't decided yet, but that's coming up in April. And then in May we have a Short Kings tournament. Signups for that will probably not be released until February or March. So far off into the distance, but you know what? I don't know why I promised a tournament every single month, because now I have to uphold that promise, and I'm pulling out my hairs trying to set up like the courts, and telling you, hey Mark, we need to organize another tournament. But lots of exciting things happening. Yeah, the website will be live hopefully this weekend, right Mark?
Yeah.
And we have a high rec drop in coming out very very soon on January the 31st. Our
Is it? Oh, it is.
It's not this Friday. It's next Friday, the
Sorry, yeah,
31st. Yes, our lovely host Chris will be hosting our high rec low intermediate drop-ins. Chris
yeah.
Steele. Yes, I call him the human megaphone. He actually calls himself that. So
He is.
yeah.
Okay, we gotta end it. We gotta end
But yeah, thanks so much everyone for coming by. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you back next week, Friday.
For next week. If you have any questions, I think the best place to put it is in the comments below.
Yeah,
If you're
yeah.
watching from YouTube,
If you're watching from YouTube, definitely leave us questions in the comments if you want us to answer. If not, you can just DM myself or Mark. Honestly, that's what you guys have been doing. So, okay, all right. See you, everyone. Bye.